get started. We're going to immediately open the floor for questions, starting with stuff on here.
Sam, I guess for y'all, it's kind of, different from last season. You guys were, every game kind of felt important just to make it. Now you guys got a chance to kind of, improve your seating a bit. I guess how do you kind of keep that must-win feel, in these games, understanding the importance of seating and things like that?
Yeah, I think it starts with young women like this one right here to my left. Shout out to the people who stayed for me last year, because this is a 2-year kind of answer to your question. Because those young women could have left, but they believe in Mississippi State and they wanted to get back to its glory days. And then a shout out to Erynn and the rest of the transfers who came here, because our goals were bigger than just making a team. It was making one special team. So to answer your question, they're just focused and determined because they know what's ahead. We can smell March, but we got to finish February.
Robbie,
kind of building on that, I mean, some coaches have a different approach, just go get the best players. I mean, for your staff, making sure you have the right fit and getting players that are going to be able to play with each other and play their role, how big of a part of the process was that for y'all?
Yeah, huge, because I think even Erynn will know. I'll never forget when we sat down. It was Super Bulldog weekend, right? When you came in. It was all, first of all, Super Bulldog weekend. So me as a coach, I'm not gonna lie, I was excited just to have a good time. But then it was like, hold up, I got Erynn Barnum in town too, so I got to make sure I get the kid because I love her. And then just, we sat down at the table and just selling a vision and selling a team. And then also for her, there was an opportunity she could change positions. And, looking her in the eyes and saying, trust me because you're going to have success. And that's a testimony to her character, because even like when you look at her stats, I know people try to compare last year to this year, but you're seeing her now come on at the most crucial time. She believes in herself, but most importantly, she's put a lot of work in the gym, extra shots, and then ultimately being the ultimate teammate. I thought some of the biggest plays in that Texas A&M game were Jessica Kidd getting double team and Erynn make the simple dive cut and being able to feed off of her teammates. Back to your question, just trying to put these young women in a good situation. And then I think when you look across the country at transfers, there's a lot of articles being written about kids making mistakes or shouldn't have left. That's something I take pride in as a head coach, that if I'm going to take a transfer, that they have success. And Erynn will tell you, I've changed plays several times this year. I'm trying to put people in the right slots. I study film. I tell her every time when I come in, I'm like, hey, this is your shot. Or D, this is your shot. Or Jess, that's your shot. And they're like, is it my shot? I'm like, no, because I watch it every single time. And I said, that's why I believe this play is going to work. And they are like, yeah, you're right. And then next thing you know, that's how chemistry develops. So that's kind of the path we're on. And that's what I love about our team, because if you watch film, it's like, who are they? And sometimes, that's the best kind of team to have, because we're not set in our ways. We're a team that's only getting better day in and day out.
Ben here in the front.
Erynn, there's been a lot of praise for the strength staff over the last week with you guys playing 3 games in 7 days. So what was that like, playing such a taxing schedule? Obviously the emotional home game against LSU and then 2 road games that are both not super close to here and not super close to each other.
Yes. We knew we needed to win, so our coaching staff always stressed that don't just be great on the court, be great in the training room as well. And Taylor, she keeps us, in line. So I think Taylor and Katie was a big part of our success as well this week.
Robbie here in the front.
Erynn, what did it feel like to have the game that you did against Texas A&M, and just kind of take me through that fourth quarter when it's back and forth between y'all and you kind of took over the ball game?
Mm-hmm. I think we started off a little slow against Texas A&M, and we knew that, but we didn't get riled up. We knew that we were a great team and that we were going to fight to come back. And Coach Sam told us to stay in it and take everything play by play. So by halftime, we wanted to, be
down by 3.
Yeah, be down by 3. But hey, we came out and we exceeded the expectations. So
we were up by 8, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think we were all hungry. In the fourth quarter, Coach Sam always tells me he needs me in these moments. So I just had that in the back of my head, and my teammates found me.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I want to add too. It's really cool about just being a head coach and the journey. I only get 1 year with her, and I tell her every day matters. and I want to enjoy this. I want no regrets, and that's something that's really cool with our relationship, to her point, where I can go to her and go, okay, you're built for this. You're a fifth year. There's certain things that are in your DNA that are different than a freshman, that there's a poise and a swagger about you, and it's really cool for what she's able to do for our team outside of what's on the box score.
Stephon here in the back.
I mean, Erynn, this past week we saw you and Miracle at that LSU game where she steps up. It seems like it's a different player that kind of steps up every game. I guess, why do you think this team has kind of been able to embrace that approach and have those type of outings from various players?
I think it starts with us giving each other that confidence. Like she always tells us how good we are. Like if I'm doing great, she's gonna tell us. And I think just spreading that love with everyone. If Miracle's having a good game, we're also happy for her, and she plays hard every time. So just knowing that it could be any of us any night is just, I love to play with that type of team.
Here on the side.
Coach, you talked a couple weeks ago about the importance of getting the roster up to about 10 players. Can you overstate what that meant, not just this past week, but now as you grind on into February, that you have one or two more bodies that just can buy some minutes?
Yeah, huge. I mean, actually having the Texas A&M game, you get your second foul in the first quarter, and Goni and Near, even though there were small minutes, I think it was like 3 or 4, those 3 or 4 minutes are huge in that game, because then we roll the dice and we put her back out there, because again, she's a fifth year, and I knew she could play through 2 fouls without getting a silly one. And if one occurred, it wasn't because she was not being mentally focused. So that's what that does in situations like that, where you're having teammates where they can step up. You know, Jasmine Brown, think about that. You know, jerk fouls out that Kentucky game. I don't know if we win if we don't have 10 players. Right? She comes in and gives 16 minutes. So it's just huge that, you know what, other teams are like, I hope we can take out their top 7, but now we can say, you still got to deal with our top 10.
Probably here on the front.
I know that Georgia game still sticks out to you from last year.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. Girl, listen, let me tell you, I got waxed last year. She went here, so let me inform her real quick. Waxed, okay? Waxed. Okay, so just so she was up to date, so she knows where this is going.
you know, looking back, that was a bad stretch for y'all too, and y'all were able to come through that. But, you know, this year y'all been able to kind of overcome, you know, situations like that on the road and win road games. I mean, looking back at the difference between last year and this year, I mean, how stark is it for you as a coach?
Yeah, it's special. Again, I've been fortunate to be part of 2 Final Four teams. I know they get tired of hearing them. You know, my pregame speech had nothing to do with X's and O's. It was all about being a team. In today's society, I keep saying this, the world and social media and things, everybody wants one individual, one person to sell, and that's why I keep saying I got one special team, and that's a lost art. And to read the comments my young women tell you all about how they've never been a part of a team like this gives me goosebumps, because that's what life's about. You know, do we want to enjoy this moment right now, and are we worried for the future? Of course, that's human nature. But when you can look back and say, when we come to reunions 20 years from now, I was like, man, how much joy you had with your teammates. That's what team sports are all about, and that's why I try to keep them focused. So the things that we've had this year, there's several behind-the-scene couch talks. All right, what are they called? TED Talks, or whether the red couch talks that are out there. My wife watches it, I don't. Okay, but you know, we've had 2 of them, right, in the locker room, and they've been great. But it's been great because you can have, like, I think that's the difference between some teams that have success and some don't. If you can't look each other in the eyes and have hard conversations, including me, I tell them I'm not perfect, give it to me, and Erynn does a good job of that. We had one time at practice, and I'll be my shine. I made her mad, and she was, you were, and we went back in the hallway, and I said, yo, I was mad, but guess what? Now I'm over. She was like, I am too. And like, we went back out there. All right. But that's sports, right? We love each other. We care for each other, but there's going to be highs and lows. And that's the cool thing about this team is we challenge each other. We hold each other to a certain standard. And it's cool to see that when you're bought in and 2 feet in, you can have a kind of season that we're having right now.
Was that the game last year where y'all had the conversation as a team where, you know, you said you pulled up chairs and everybody sat around and had that conversation? I can't remember exactly.
I think so. I think it was after that. Yeah, we had the circle of love right before Valentine's Day. Yeah, that's the one thing about me as a head coach. I know I'm new and I'm young year 2, but I'm not afraid of conversations and looking in the circle because she knows, Erynn knows me. I'm a vibe guy. Like that's what I appreciate about her. And like she referenced the fourth quarter, I go to her. So as much as I try to give them energy, they also give me energy in return. And like Erynn said several times, and she's like, "We got this." I'm like, "Perfect, we got it." You know, and as silly as that sound, those are key things that are in sports that are big. Just like I wrote on the board, eye contact, fist pounds, short words of encouragement. That's culture. That's team. And that's where you see our team, like in the LSU, in those moments of where we try to stick out. It has nothing to do with made shots, but it's all about who we are as people.
Stephon here in the back.
Erynn, to follow up on Sam, when he was talking about Jasmine earlier, where have you guys kind of seen her grow, you know, in practice and kind of behind the scenes? Because, you know, there's spurts that she's had in games, but, you know, that Kentucky game was kind of a big showing for her. What did you kind of see leading up to that made you guys believe that she could do something like that?
Mm-hmm. Jazz works hard, you know, Coach Sam always praises her for like coming in extra and getting extra shots early in the morning, and she practiced hard at practice. Like we have different groups, but Jazz comes out and she works hard, and she gives all of us the run for our money. So we trust Jazz in those moments, and we know that she's ready to step up when you need her.
Ben here in the front.
Coach, looking at this year's Georgia team, I know they've been struggling a bit down toward the bottom of the conference, but what do you see that stands out that might give you a battle?
Yeah, here's the thing about the SEC. First of all, they just beat Kentucky by what, seven points. We beat Kentucky in overtime. Okay, so I keep putting in perspective. Guys, do not fall for standings. This SEC is a beast. I think earlier this year they're up on Duke, who's in the top 25. They've been up on everybody in the league. They're like us, where they're trying to put four quarters together. Katie is a legendary coach defensively. Her UCF teams were ranked. It's like men's basketball with Virginia men. They're known for just making it ugly. That's why I'm challenging our fans to come out and try to provide an energy and a spark to help us pull one out in a game that's going to be ugly. I don't think you can expect this game to be in the 70s. For them, they want to win 52-50, and my team's got to be able to embrace that and enjoy that. As much as I've talked about fist pounding, eye contacts, and energy, you got to be happy winning this game with your defense. And if offense occurs, then it's a bonus. But it's a shout out to her and the way they play, and her commitment to playing this 3-2 matchup zone, mixing it up with presses. And again, they're going to double our post. They're going to try to make us make outside shots. But I'm thankful to have a group that has a positive assist to turnover ratio, because we're not scared to share the ball. And if we don't make shots, it's people like her now that I have that can flat out go get the board and come up with second chance opportunities.
Joseph here in the front.
Just a quick housekeeping thing. I don't think we've checked in on Romani in a while. Just how's her rehab going, and where I guess is she in that process?
Yeah. So thank you for asking about her, because man, that's another thing we miss those kids. It's cool because Romani actually finally went on a road trip for Kentucky. The reason she didn't travel is we wanted to get her to an 8-week period of recovery because of a swelling in her knee. Rocio will be traveling after Florida because her 8 weeks is up from her ACL. So that's why you're saying those kids aren't punished. Is like, Erynn, unfortunately, you don't have another year. All right, I wish the NCAA could come up with another year, but she's gonna graduate. So I told those kids who are rehabbing, you got to be ready for next year so we can keep this momentum. So instead of just taking them on a trip, we've been working hard behind the scenes. So when this time next year comes, and Robbie asked me the question, what can we look forward to? I can give him a good, honest answer for the hard young women who are hurt right now and ready to step in when these kids graduate.
Robbie here in the front.
Erynn, you talked about it a little bit, but you had to give up being, the post player at Arkansas to come here and play with Jessica, and I know that was actually one of the reasons you came here. Just, tell me about that process and you wanting to experience that with her and be a part of this team in a different way than what you were at Arkansas.
Yes, I feel like I did everything I wanted to do as far as like my self goals, and to come play with Jessica, I knew that it was going to be different and I was going to be challenged at moments, but my coaches and my teammates, they always tell me that they believe in me, and now I just try to find things to do other than scoring. Like if it's rebounding, playing hard, I know I have to play defense to stay on the court, so that's one of the things I've been focusing on as of late.
Yes, you do, and she's doing a good job.
What is y'all's relationship like, you and Jess, as the two post players?
I think it's respect. She respects me. We played against each other, and she always tells me like, I remember you from Arkansas, like, you know. And so she's like, I know what you could do, so don't be afraid of these big moments. Like, you were made for it. And she always helps my confidence. Like, when I'm feeling down, she's like the first person that picks me up. So I love Jess.